Hey, welcome to Thinking is Contagious. I was listening a little bit this morning to AOC, notorious AOC, talking about the economy of all things. Uh, that's like asking your the guy who picks up the trash about your health. But anyway, um, as she's saying, if Trump walks away from stimulus, it's catastrophic. 30 to 40 million evictions, a second wave of the virus. Mind you, this is AOC. First of all, whoever goes or listens to her advice on anything, but especially economics, let me tell you, you're probably better off just playing the lotto. You have a better shot of winning, of making money. Um, this is the woman who, in a congressional hearing, uh, asked the former Wells Fargo chairman, told the Wells Fargo chairman that his bank should be responsible for the cleanup uh, of an oil spill, the Dakota Access Pipeline that had occurred on a project that the bank financed. The bank financed it. They didn't operate it. They weren't on site. They financed the project. She's saying that the bank should be liable. What do you think that would do to the banking industry? What do you think? It's just so absurd. She is so clueless. I mean, there was a guy named Mark Thiessen in 2019. Washington Post wrote an op-ed and basically said AOC is an economic illiterate. She was then, she still is now. Only now her illiteracy has an agenda, the Green New Deal. Um, let's think back to when Amazon was trying to build a headquarters in Long Island. It was negotiated by Democrats. It represented somewhere between 25 and 40,000 jobs. It represented about $27 billion, according to Bill de Blasio, another genius, $1 billion annually in revenue to New York. AOC, in her infinite wisdom, fought it, and when the deal tanked, she celebrated. She said, all those jobs and that were being subsidized. And she says, we can take those $3 billion and we can put those $3 billion into hiring teachers and fixing the subways. Is that illiteracy at its finest, economic illiteracy? Even if you had to subsidize $3 billion, which I don't know where she got that number, to get Amazon there, to generate $27 billion in revenues, you invest to make money. You don't invest, well, she does, because she's a socialist. She's a communist. So she takes from one pocket to give to the other. And that's her theory of how to spend money. First of all, New York doesn't have $3 billion for school teachers and for subways and all, because New York is broke because it's one of the worst run municipalities and states in the country, if not the worst. So start there, AOC. AOC, who claimed that the Pentagon, she claimed that the Pentagon, there was 21 trillion with a T as in Tom, dollars of undocumented transactions involving the Pentagon. And that 21 trillion of, in her opinion, fraud or untraceable transactions could have paid for 70% of the Medicare for all, which she says would have cost $32 trillion. This woman throws around trillions like we throw around $10 bills. But that shows you when you don't have anything and you have no concept of money and you don't even know what a million means, you just use the word trillion and can't fathom. She can't fathom what a billion, a trillion, a million. She can't fathom what it is. First of all, it's not her money. It's yours. And she's pissing it away. But anyway, she says that, their 21 trillion would have paid 70% of the 32 trillion. We could give Medicare for all. Well, the Pentagon spokesman, Chris Sherwood, came out immediately afterward and said, the Department of Defense, the Department of Defense has not received $21 trillion in nominal appropriated funds across its entire existence. Where does she get her numbers? Lies of the liberals. They know their people won't check anything. They'll just follow them blindly. This woman is the classic example of an empty barrel makes the most noise. She is totally incompetent. She belongs, I don't know, answering phones somewhere. I don't know where she belongs, but definitely not as a legislator. Who voted for her? Anyway, this is the same genius, okay? Follow the record, follow the path, follow the breadcrumbs. This is the author of the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal will bankrupt this country. Absolutely bankrupt this country. And that's the agenda that will follow if you vote in Joe Biden and the praying mantis, Kamala Harris. That is what will follow, because that is what they've all signed off on. And that is the mandate. And the Green New Deal, okay, is nothing more than a palatable way to shove the bankruptcy of the United States down the throat of all the bleeding heart liberals and all the apologists and all the people in this country that believe that they've succeeded or they've accomplished based on someone else's, taking it from someone else. That's not the way it works. That's not what this country's about. Okay? The Green New Deal has one agenda because they know there's nothing they can do about global warming. There's nothing. You can help. We have some input in it. There's no doubt about it. We can help prolong processes. We can improve certain situations. But there's nothing you can do about global warming. It has happened repeatedly in the history of the universe, of the world, of the earth. There's nothing you can do about it. It will continue to occur. But through this sexy Green New Deal, what you're going to create is a black hole that will never be able, you'll never be able to fill no matter how much money you throw into it. And that will lead to the downfall of America. And then what will happen is the economy of America. And what will happen is then the leftist, socialist, communist will say, there you go, capitalism doesn't work. We got to become communist. That's what this is. Make no mistake about it. Understand that that is the plan of how communism takes over this economy. Implode the system. Overburden it with excessive expenses, costs, fees. Overburden it. And when the system implodes, blame it on capitalism and then interject your system, which is communism, socialism. People, I cannot explain to you enough. I cannot express to you enough. I am asking you to go and study the Democratic position, the Democrats, the liberals' position on where they want this country to go. Look at what's happening in Venezuela. Look what's happening in Nicaragua. Look at Cuba. For God's sakes, understand this is where they're leading us. And when you have AOC as a spokesperson for anything to do, especially with finances, that shows you the dire straits of the leadership of the Democratic Party. Absolute ignorance, absolute not based on the best available talent being put up to run, based on who checks boxes and is most likely to be elected. Who checks boxes and is most likely to say or do whatever is needed to implement the agenda. That's why they're so afraid of Trump, because with all his flaws, There's no way to buy him off. He's going to do what he thinks is right and what he feels needs to be done. Self-serving, yes. But in that self-serving, his goal, his agenda, being to be called the greatest president in the history of this country. In order for that to be achieved, to quote John F. Kennedy once again, a rising tide lifts all boats. In his hell-bent pursuit of being the greatest president that ever lived, he will rise, his tide will float all boats. He will rise your boat, and you will be much better off for it. Please. There's no way that we can do anything but make sure that Kamala Harris Biden ticket goes nowhere. Thank you, and please subscribe. I really would like the support. I'd like to see those subscriber numbers get up. Subscribe, join the thinkers. I need you. Have a good one.